What's good, y'all? This is your boy, Vacation Time with Ryan. On my way to the park to get my cardio workout in. I'm starting something new. I'm adding calisthenics to my workout. Today's video is gonna be, is $30,000 saved up enough money to move to the Dominican Republic? I'm just gonna give you my opinion based off someone that lived in the Dominican Republic. If you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'll tell you some of the challenges I had living in the Dominican Republic when I lived there. So I'm gonna give you my opinion based on just my experience and what I know about life in general and finance and everything. And then at the end, I'll tell you about my experience, and I'll tell you what I think is $30,000 enough. Oh, real quick, I'm gonna interrupt your video real quick. I want to tell y'all about something. It's a new social network. It's called Passport Traveler. All right, there's a website. I'm gonna link it. There's an app. I'm gonna link it. You can go to passporttraveler.com. Now, the social network was built for like-minded people, travelers that's traveling international, DR, Colombia, Brazil, Costa Rica, Panama, whatever. The list goes on. Wherever you go in Thailand. You want to get in a community, you want to post your videos, your pictures, and you want to connect with like-minded people. There's also ways you can earn money within the community. You don't need to be a content creator. You could just be someone that's just looking to build with like-minded people, with travelers. Maybe you just want to share travel stories, pictures, videos. Get in the community, all right? This video right here, sponsored by Passport Traveler. All right, so jump in there, link in the bio, and let's build, man. Let's build. Back to the video. All right, it's $30,000 enough for you to up and move to the Dominican Republic. Now, this question has so many different things that we have to consider before we can just say yes or no. Some people are going to say yes. Some people are going to straight up say no. I predict most people are gonna say no at a flash, but it's going to depend if we're being real, all right? It's gonna depend on your situation. Are you in debt? What kind of bills do you have to maintain currently, even from abroad? Do you have a retirement set up? Are you already retired? Do you have a steady income coming in that you can manage for the rest of your life while over there? Are you just going with the 30K and a dream? Are you going to say, hey, I'm gonna go over there and figure it out? 30K is a lot of money. Are you going over there to say, hey, I'm gonna do content? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different things you have to consider. So if we're being real, the answer could be yes, it's enough for some, and it could be no, that's not enough for some. For the people that say no, they're in a different situation. For the people that say yes, this is what I believe you gotta have. For you to be able to make it work with 30K, in my opinion, Vacation Time with Ryan's opinion, you have to have no debt. No debt, so no old repo car loans, none of that, no student loans, no credit card debt, none of that. No debt that you're paying every month, right? Because that could mess you up. Because eventually the money's gonna run out, you're gonna be left paying debt and your living expenses that you accumulate while living there, right? So you don't wanna be in debt if you only got 30K moving there, right? No debt. Then, if you're gonna say, yes, it's enough, you have to have a steady income that you can get while you're over there. And that income, in my opinion, should be at least $2,500. $2,500, right? Now, some people say, oh, I could live off $1,500, good for you. But I'm saying have it so you don't just be in a weird situation, because you might live off $2,000 and make $2,500 and have no debt, but you might have a couple months where stuff happened. Think about your entire life in the United States or wherever you're from. Think about your whole life. Think about how many times you had unexpected things happen. Family member got sick. Someone went to jail, needed help being bonded out. These things happen. Accidents happen. Things happen, right? So you have to account for something happening. Now you might say, well, I got 30K, but you're gonna be, depending on who you are, you might be using that 30K, and 30K is not enough for you to retire off of, right? So you wanna be in a position where your income is higher than your monthly spending maintenance. And then with the leftover money, you're gonna wanna invest it. Even the 30K, it shouldn't be sitting in a savings account. It should be sitting in somewhere where it's growing. Something steady, not nothing risky, not no crypto that you think is gonna go to the moon. No, that you put like a small percentage of your portfolio in. Those like little cryptos and those things that you think is going to the moon, but you're not sure, and it doesn't have at least a 10-year history of growing steadily. No, don't put it in something like that. You take a small percentage of your portfolio, and that's where you do your risky trades and your risky investments. But with the 30, you want it in a solid investment that pays dividends, all right? So ticker symbol VOO, right? Something like that. Something, just a stock that's kind of steady, pays dividends, and you can look at from 10 years ago that it was steadily growing, right? So you don't want to have to touch that 30K either. You want to have to go at least 10 years without touching it, depending on your age, right? So I know we're getting a little financy in here, right? I don't even know if that's a word, financy. But no, people need to hear this, because somebody out there is thinking about moving, and you gotta not make the mistakes I made, right? That's why I ain't jumped back out yet, because I'm like, I ain't gonna make the same mistake twice. You know what I'm saying? All right, so if you're on the yes side, that 30K is enough. You know you need a steady income, whether it's a remote job that you feel steady in. If you just get a new remote job, I would advise you to wait 6 months within getting the remote job, because don't be emotional, get a remote job and then move tomorrow and then get fired next month, or get fired 3 months down the line. I'd say wait 6 months, feel confident, you know you could do this over the next 10 years if you had to. You like the job, it's comfortable, you can, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're skilled at it, you're good. Now, obviously, if you have a profession, a career, a degree, to where you could work from anywhere in the world, and you have a degree, then you're good. You're probably already gone. You know what I'm saying? But for the people that's trying to like do something, maybe get a short-term certificate in something and move right away, keep in mind, you could either get fired, you could hit a rough patch in life. Just be prepared. That's all I'm saying. Now, also, I would also say this. If you have a very good situation back at home, you might be younger. Let's say you're younger, or if you're older, but let's say you're younger and you live with your parents or something like that, or you know, no matter what, your people got the house, you got the room there, that's always gonna be your room. You always got a safe, soft landing. If things don't work out, you always keep 5,000 of that 30. You keep that in savings in case you need to buy a flight and go home and have some startup money to go home with. If you got your peoples you can go live with, you know, so you're not homeless if you blow through the money. And like I said, you have a soft landing, you know, then you might want to take a shot, because you know, no matter what, you always got your parents' crib that you live at, and that's not going to change. Your parents support you. Your parents even encourage you to go take a shot. They say, hey, you young, if it don't work, you just come back and start over. You're good. You're always going to have your crib here. Maybe your people got a little money set up for you. if you come back home. So if you got it, like, which is rare, a lot of people don't have that situation, but if you have a situation like that where you could take a chance, I wouldn't advise it, but you can if you're young enough and you know no matter what, you're gonna be straight coming back. So if you want to just take a chance, take a chance. I done seen people go over there for years and leave and come back right to their parents' crib and go get 2 jobs and make it work. So if you want to do that, you can. I wouldn't advise it, but it's not the end of the world if you know you have help. You know you have a soft landing. Huh? All right, I'm back. No, I just met someone. He was cool. I was chopping it up about content creation. So forgive me if I lost my train of thought. But I do believe I was saying that those are some of the reasons at why it can work for you with 30K, in my opinion. Now, let me give you some reasons why it could not work for you, or it may be a bad idea to go with just 30K saved up. All right. So for one, if you don't have remote income coming in that could, help you pay these bills, 30,000 is not enough to live forever off of. You got to think of forever, unless you're planning to come right back. But you may say, oh, I got 30, that should last me. You might think it should last you like 3 years. And then you might think, or even 1 year, and then maybe you think over that year, you have a year to figure it out, to figure out how to get income, to figure out if you could start a business, or to figure out if content creation may work for you, and then you're gonna live off content creation. My advice, if you don't have the income already, what makes you think you're just gonna grow it magically when you get there? So if your plan is to go there, be a content creator, and then just boss up, go viral or something like that, that's a risky plan. It's not impossible. Some content creators have made it happen, but you're looking at the people that won. You also got to consider the hundreds of people that failed trying to do that method. Everyone's not going to go viral. Everyone's not going to be able to make enough money through content creation. So think of it like that. Another big thing, if you're in debt, right? Let's say you got the money. Let's say you got the remote income coming in. Let's say you have at least 2,500 coming in and you got 30K and you're like, I'm ready. Also think, are you in debt? How much debt do you have? If you have more than 30K debt and you only got 30K saved up, you might say, okay, with the remote income, I could pay to stabilize my lifestyle. So why not pay off the debt first and then go? And since you already have remote income, now you don't have no debt that could catch up to you and you can go. So I would say pay off your debts first. You could make it work, especially if you have a good remote income. You might could make it work with maybe something like 10K in debt. Cool. But if you have more debt than you have saved up, I'd say that's a bad idea. Pay off your debts and then go with your remote income, but also have a stack of money for emergency. Another thing you want to have, if you're going to do it, have insurance. Remember, see, some of these things we forget to think about because we're just so used to just having all these things because we grew up in these other countries, right? So you're used to just having insurance. You're used to all these things. So you got to think about when you go overseas, how things work. Things work different. It don't work like in the United States. You don't just break a leg and then get to go to the hospital. They fix it and then they bill you in the mail and then it just goes to your debt or you pay it off little by little. It don't work like that. These countries, they literally won't work on you if you don't have money. So that's why I say 30K if you're in debt and you got a lot of things going on. 30K may not be enough because you might have a rare situation that happens, whether it's an accident or somebody else get hurt or somebody gets sick or just something. Life be lifing. And then you gotta dip in to that 30K. You might have to spend 15. You might have to spend 20. And then now you're in more of a situation. Or, 'cause some of you do this, you might fall in love with the wrong chick. You might fall in love with a person that's just draining you. Now, when I say the wrong chick, I don't just mean a gold digger, no. It could be someone that's a very good person, good-hearted person, good intentions, doesn't cheat on you, Christian, all that good stuff. But maybe that person is just draining you unintentionally. Maybe taking care of a whole nother human being will just drain you. So your plan that you had going in could have been solid. But now all of a sudden, you have this woman that you fell in love with, and good person, but they're draining you. Now the expenses that you thought let's say you got a job paying you $2,500, you're comfortable spending $2,000 alone, but now shorty comes along and you're in love. Now remember, you're in love, so you're not thinking clear. Now your $2,000 just went to $4,000. Now you're spending $4,000 a month because you want to make her happy. Not saying you buying her, but like you want to just have nice things that y'all enjoy together. So now your expenses went up, which you didn't expect. So that remote job ain't so strong anymore. Now that 30K, you chipping away at it. You don't have a retirement plan, and then eventually your cash runs out. The remote income ain't enough anymore. You either lose the chick or you just move back. And it's just a situation you don't want to be in. I mean, there's so many reasons as to why I could say you shouldn't go with just 30K, right? But those are the main reasons. If you're in debt, if you don't have a strong enough remote income, and also if you're not financially savvy, if you just don't know, like if you're not good with finances, then you shouldn't do it either, right? You should have, especially if you're younger, you should have, like I said in my last video, you should have a 401k, Roth IRA. You should have retirement money. If you're retired, different situation. But if you're not retired, you're just working remote, and you got a good remote job, I hope you have retirement set up. You got your 401k set up, and then you have a separate Roth IRA, and you even have investments. So when you're going overseas, don't forget to invest. Sure, you might be thinking, oh, I'm gonna start a business. All that stuff take bread, but don't forget about your long-term future. Don't think short-term, think long-term. This is what I'm basically trying to say, all right? So my personal opinion, and I said it throughout the whole video. So like I said, if you stay to the end, I'll give you my opinion, and I'll give you some of my personal experiences living in DR that could be attached to this video. So my personal opinion, is 30K enough? And the answer is yes and no, based off of what I said in the video. Yes, if you got your stuff together, you got a remote income coming in and it's more than enough money, and you paid off all your debts, and you studied finance, you know what to do with money, you know how to invest, you got a retirement account set up, you have a separate retirement account, the Roth IRA, and you have an investment account where you invest actively. So you're growing money, you're not just burning money. Then yes, 30K is enough for you. But again, no, if you don't really know how to invest, you don't know what you're doing with money, and you don't have a strong enough remote income, and you're in debt, you just think 30K is like 30 or like 300K or something. No, 30K can get blown in a year. Well, 30K can get blown in 3 months. So just keep these things in mind, all right? Now, my personal experience living in the Dominican Republic, I'm gonna tell you some of the challenges I faced financially, all right? So some of the challenges I faced financially was, a lot of it was stuff back at home. Having a whole life that you leave back at home. Yes, I don't have kids. So you might be there, oh, I don't have kids, I'm not married. That's not everything, brother. Like, I have a family, you know what I'm saying? So, like, not to get too personal, but my mom's got sick, had to retire. So everything was just working against me, right? So that's some of my personal experience. I had stuff going on in the family, so I'm paying and helping a whole lifestyle back at home in Florida, right? And then there, you know, failed businesses like I talked about in the past. So some of those were very hard to deal with, you know, stock market trading, taking losses in that, just not having a steady income. These were stressful, annoying things. And then you're trying to like keep up with a lifestyle that you've been living at home, and then also one that you're actively creating. So you're creating a lifestyle. You're getting, you know, I was in a relationship, so you're getting involved with another human being, just like anywhere in the world. Like, for example, in Florida, you get involved with a person, especially if you're a man, if you're an actual man, you're involved with the family, you're involved with everybody. Not saying you need to go and be a provider to everyone, no. But what I am saying is, you with someone for years and years, eventually you grow a bond with this person's family too. So what I'm trying to say is, like, the person's mom might genuinely get sick, or someone might genuinely be hurting the family. You don't have to help. You don't have to like say, oh, this is my responsibility. But if you have if you've met everyone, you spent significant time, you've became a part of the family, you're gonna feel as though, man, this is a rough situation. You might want to help out, even though you don't have to and no one's asking you. You might just feel it in your spirit that you want to help out. This is what I'm saying. Random things that come up that you just don't think would happen, or you don't account for. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't want to get too personal, but you know, people get older, people get sick, people have surgeries, like all these different things happen, right? Or your personal appetite might grow. You might want to upgrade your apartment. You might want to go get a vehicle. You might want to get a car. Remember, when you're on vacation, it's all cool, fun and games. But when you live somewhere, there's a way you live that makes you comfortable. Every time I go on a trip to DR, I rent a car. I'm comfortable being able to up and go. Oh snap, tomorrow we going to La Vega. Boom, jump in the car, we gone. We're going to Bonao. All right, boom, jump in the car, we gone. That's what I'm used to. I ain't trying to be, bus here, bus there, Uber here, Uber there. That's just what I'm used to when I'm at home. I grew up in Florida. We do cars here. We don't know the train system like that. We don't know the bus system like that. At least I don't. Yeah, so those are some of the things I dealt with. Like I said, you know, wanting to do things that I do in Florida, like having a vacation here and there. So I would take a trip, Punta Cana. We'll take a trip up to some river, rent a car, do stuff like that. Eventually buy a car, whatever, etc. So just knowing yourself, knowing how you like to live, and understanding what you think something is, it's always going to cost more than you think it's going to cost. You always want to have extras, all right? This is Vacation Time with Ryan. I hope someone got something positive out of this video. Maybe you're thinking about moving. Hopefully I sparked some ideas or tips that you can say, oh, I wasn't even thinking of that. I'm glad I watched this video. So I hope you got something from this bottom line, all right? Before I go, I have to tell you, I'm throwing an event, party, whatever you want to call it, in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. If you're interested, please shoot me a message. I'm on all platforms, major platforms, at Vacation Time with Ryan, all in one word. You can send me a message if you're interested in coming to the party. It's October 11th. This year, 2026, October 11th, all right? So if you think about that, make sure you pull up. There's gonna be food, there's gonna be drinks, it's gonna be a good time. WhatsApp groups, I know WhatsApp groups have been catching a little heat lately, but that's why I made mine the way I made it. I made it to where you gotta pay a small fee to get in, so we know you're serious. to kind of eliminate some trolling. And we have rules. There's certain things you can't post. That's why I keep my stuff the way I keep my stuff. Because when they try to come for you, and they will come for you, you already know, hey, we keep it clean over here, right? It's your boy Vacation Time with Ryan. We out.